Welcome to this regular Faroes news report. We're looking at some key sources from the Faroe Islands today, September 10th, 2025. Our goal is simple, to get you up to speed on the crucial developments shaping the Faroes. Think of it as your essential briefing. We'll be covering a few main headlines, the long road to WTO membership, then divergent interpretations of autonomy, followed by domestic policy debates, and finally, a snapshot of Faroes life. Right, let's dive in. Kicking us off is a story it's been unfolding for about a decade now. It's the Faroe Islands' push for independent membership in the World Trade Organization, the WTO. It's been quite the constitutional, political journey.
Absolutely.
And the big news is that the Faroes government, the Landsstyr, they finally got a favorable ruling from the Article 6 committee.
Yes, that's the Joint Faroes-Danish Committee.
Exactly. And they've concluded that Faroes' membership in the WTO, in its own name, is actually compatible with their constitutional status.
And the way they reached that decision is quite interesting, too. There were 3 meetings, rounds of written arguments, but the government appointees couldn't agree.
Oh, really? So what happened?
Well, it fell to the 3 Supreme Court judges on the committee to make the final call. And their ruling basically overturned a long-standing, quite negative interpretation from the Danish Ministry of Justice. That interpretation had been a real obstacle for years.
Okay, so this is definitely a win for the Faroes government then. The Lugmaur, their prime minister, he was happy, of course, but also voiced some regret about the long delay.
Understandably.
He pointed fingers a bit, blaming the Danish Ministry of Justice's wrong interpretation, as he put it. And he said he hopes this might lead to certain restraint from the Danish side on making unilateral decisions about Faroes' constitutional matters in the future. He even mentioned this specific WTO issue has come up in almost every meeting he's had with Danish Prime Minister since back in 2015.
It really shows how central it's been. And interestingly, from the Danish perspective, there's public support now. The Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, she's backed the Faroes bid, pledged full government help to speed things up.
Right.
And even Morten Messerschmidt, the leader of the Danish People's Party, he's supportive too, calls it a strengthening of the brotherly bonds. He points out, look, they've handled their own EU foreign policy for 50 years, been equal partners in the Nordic Council. So maybe this isn't such a massive leap for some in Denmark.
Okay, but hang on. It's not quite a blank check, is it? There are conditions attached to this ruling, like a yes-but situation?
Exactly. There are strings attached. 3 main ones.
What are they?
Okay, first, the organization itself, like the WTO, has to allow non-state members. WTO does, but apparently not many others do.
Right.
Second, whatever the Faroes do within the WTO, it must not legally bind the Kingdom of Denmark.
Makes sense. And the third?
And third, this is maybe the big one, the Faroes need permission from the Danish government for each separate application they make to join an international body like this.
Okay, so each time. That feels significant.
It is. While the WTO allows non-state members, needing Danish sign-off every single time is a major condition. So for you listening, the bigger picture is, yes, this is a step forward. Making their own trade deals has been a, quote, burning desire for ages.
Especially with their economy so focused on exports, mainly fish.
Precisely. So this ruling opens that door, it paves the way. But those conditions mean Denmark still holds some important keys. It's progress, but within that existing constitutional setup.
Okay, so that WTO ruling, while a step forward, it's clearly sparked different takes within the Faroes about what it means for their autonomy and relationship with Denmark. Let's look at those divergent interpretations. First, you have the Sambandsflokkurin, the Union Party. How do they see it?
Well, they see it very positively, as proof that the Commonwealth, the Ríkisfélagsskapurinn, actually works. Their leader, Barer Ostag Nielsen, basically said this shows the Commonwealth is spacious and modern, offering real opportunities.
So, countering the idea that they're too restrictive.
Exactly. He feels it disproves claims from other parties that the current setup is too limiting. He argues modernization is possible within it. And it's worth remembering, they're the only party in the Lagting, the Faroes parliament, that wants to keep the Commonwealth as is.
Right, but then there's a completely different perspective. An opinion piece by Esser Patterson titled, "Nothing Changed with the Home Rule Committee." That doesn't sound like a celebration.
Not at all. He argues this decision isn't victory. He actually calls it concrete proof of the straitjacket of home rule.
A straitjacket. Strong words.
Very. He emphasizes that, sure, WTO rules allow self-governing territories like the Faroes to join independently. But that continuing need for Danish consent is the fundamental block. The international door might be open, he's saying, but the Danish constitutional key is still needed to unlock it.
So it gets to the heart of what self-determination really means, doesn't it?
It does. Patterson's point is that Denmark's constitution stops the Faroes from joining international bodies that directly affect their interests, like fishing, even sports without Danish approval first.
Right.
His conclusion is pretty blunt. Independence, or liaising, is needed if the Faroes want to truly use their international rights, compete effectively with neighbors like Iceland and Norway, and join the WTO without asking Denmark.
So the exact same ruling is seen as proof of the system's flexibility by one side and proof of its fundamental limitation by the other.
Precisely. Two totally different visions for the future stemming from the same event. One working within the Commonwealth, the other seeing it as the core problem needing a break for independence.
A really clear illustration of that central tension in Faroese politics. Okay, let's shift from those high-level constitutional debates down to some more domestic policy issues playing out right now. First up, fair wages. There's an MP, Hans Jacob Thomsen from the Social Democrats, Javnaðarflokkin. He's pushing hard for a different approach in the upcoming autumn wage negotiations. He's backing the Prime Minister's idea of negotiating increases in fixed kroner amounts, not percentages.
Yeah, and the reasoning behind that is all about economic fairness. Thomsen argues, and it's a common argument, that percentage-based raises just keep widening the gap between the highest and lowest earners.
Right, the rich get richer faster, essentially.
Pretty much. Especially with inflation, lower earners might see their purchasing power barely move or even shrink, while higher earners can absorb costs and save more. Negotiating in fixed kroner amounts is aimed squarely at trying to level that out a bit, giving everyone the same cash increase, which obviously means more proportionally for those on lower wages. It's about a more equitable share of growth.
Makes sense. Okay, next domestic issue, the media landscape. There's an opinion piece describing it as being in crisis or in ruins. Iknusi is the Faroese phrase used. That sounds pretty dramatic.
It does. The piece is by John Johannesson, who has experience. He was on the Media Support Committee and works at KVF, the public broadcaster.
So what's the crisis, according to him?
Several things. A severe shortage of journalists is a big one. Private media are apparently really struggling to hire people. And KVF itself, he calls it a downtrodden institution.
Downtrodden? Why?
He points to things like outdated equipment, but also restrictive accounting rules for public bodies. They have to book all expenses in the same year they happen.
Ah, so no spreading the cost of big investments over time, like depreciation.
Exactly, which makes it incredibly hard to invest in new technology or infrastructure. He contrasts it with a past where KVF and the main newspapers, Suðuroy and Dimleading, had this healthy competition going. He feels that's gone.
Okay, so he paints a bleak picture. Does he offer any solutions?
He does, and they're quite bold, aimed at boosting democracy through better media. Two main ideas. First, scrap the current KVF license fee and the existing media support system. Replace both with a new media tax for all citizens over 18.
A universal media tax? How would that work?
He suggests maybe 75% of it goes to KVF, the public broadcaster, and the rest to private media. But importantly, the private media funding would depend on meeting public service criteria without the Media Support Committee acting like a super editor, dictating content.
Interesting. What's the second proposal?
Transform KVF, the public broadcaster, into a public limited company. Still state-owned, probably by the Ministry of Culture, similar to models in Sweden or Norway.
And the benefit of that structure?
Better financial control, basically. It would allow them to manage assets properly, like depreciating equipment, focus more on actual production, maybe even build their own facilities instead of renting, more financial flexibility.
Right. These are definitely significant reforms he's suggesting. A universal tax, changing the structure of the public broadcaster.
Yeah, the goal he states is clear. Stronger private media, healthy competition, better information, and ultimately, a stronger Faroese democracy. But getting there would involve some big changes.
Absolutely. Foundational changes, really. Okay, finally, let's get a quick snapshot of some other news items touching on Faroese life and local governance, starting with population.
Always important for a small nation.
Indeed. The latest figures as of August 1st, 2025, show the population at 55,146. That's a growth of 377 people over the last year, or 0.7%, which is actually a bigger increase than the year before.
So positive growth. And what's driving it?
Two things. A natural increase, meaning more births than deaths, which accounted for 158 people. And net migration, more people move into the islands than leaving, which was 219 people.
And that migration figure is interesting.
Yeah, it's more than double the net migration from the previous period. Apparently, the main reason is fewer people actually moved away this time.
So better retention, perhaps? That's
Yeah.
a positive sign?
Definitely. Okay, shifting gears to local politics and justice. The Faroese police have indicted one person relating to alleged election fraud. This was at the Oyndarfjørður polling station during the 2024 municipal election.
Election fraud, that's serious.
Very. The charge is under Section 116, subsection 1 of the Penal Code. It covers obstructing elections or falsifying results.
And the potential penalty.
Up to 6 years in prison. It's an ongoing criminal case, so police aren't releasing more details right now.
Understood. But it underscores the importance placed on electoral integrity.
Absolutely. And one last item, an inquiry in the Lagting, the parliament. MP Janice Avrana has raised questions about the new booking and control system for the ferry line to Suðuroy, the southernmost island.
Ah, the ferry systems. Always a topic of discussion.
Seems so. With calls for savings, he's asking the Minister of Fisheries and Transport some direct questions.
Like what?
Total costs so far, monthly running costs, how many staff are needed for it daily, can costs be reduced? And crucially, were other, maybe cheaper, systems looked at? He mentions things like the photo or video systems used for road tolls. He's basically asking if this new system is sensible or just mere waste.
That really gets at the practicalities of governing, doesn't it? Balancing modern services like a reliable ferry booking system, which is vital for an island like Suðuroy, with the constant pressure to be efficient and careful with public money.
Exactly. It affects people's daily lives directly. So wrapping up, what we've seen today is a snapshot of the Faroe Islands actively navigating its place in the world, debating fairness at home, strengthening its democratic institutions, and managing the practicalities of island life.
It really highlights that constant interplay between their big national goals, the day-to-day business of governing, and that complex, evolving relationship within the Danish Commonwealth. A key question this leaves you, the listener, with is how these ongoing constitutional debates and domestic policy choices will ultimately shape the Faroe Islands' identity and ability to operate effectively on the global stage as a self-governing nation within a larger kingdom.
Like and subscribe to Pulse Fundamentals for more content like this. Sources linked below.